If your church doubled in size this Easter, what would break? I don't mean hypothetically. I mean, what would actually break? Would it be parking? Would it be kids check-in? Would it be follow-up? Would it be volunteer coverage? Or would you see that crowd and preach yourself happy? Would it be your sermon length? Because here's the truth. Most churches pray for growth, but their systems honestly can't hold it. Easter doesn't expose your anointing. It exposes your infrastructure. And that's why we built EasterOS. Before we go any further, you need the playbook open. Now, this playbook that I designed is not standalone content. It's a guided walkthrough of this system. It is 42 pages. It is my manifesto for you having the best Easter ever, if it's your best strategic Easter ever. Now, if you don't have the EasterOS Playbook in front of you, you can scan the QR code, or you can go down to the description and grab the link and pull it up right now. I'm going to wait because it's important that you're able to follow along as I unpack the pillars behind EasterOS. Now, this will make a lot more sense with it open because I'm only really able to share, I don't know, maybe even 20% of the total strategy behind EasterOS. Like I said, the 42-page playbook is really my brainchild. It is from working behind the scenes at some of the fastest growing churches in America. And I decided to put all of that knowledge in one document to make sure that your church not only had the best Easter ever, but took that momentum and compounded it into the future. Now, let me introduce myself because I've started talking a little bit, but if we have not met, hi. My name is Sheldon Andrus. I'm the founder and CEO of Andrus Advisory. And before I started consulting churches, I built my career in advertising and brand strategy, helping organizations clarify their message, sharpen their positioning, and engineer systems that can scale. I'm also an entrepreneur. I've built businesses. I've led teams. I've had to feel the weight of payroll and the weight of growth. And for several years, I had the honor of a life to serve as an executive pastor at a church that grew from around 1,200 people to well over 15,000. Hear me. I've lived with the pressure of rapid growth, the staffing strain, the volunteer gaps, the Sunday morning tension when everything feels like it rests on your shoulders. I've seen what happens when momentum outpaces structure, and I've seen what happens when structure supports momentum. And now, as CEO of Andrus Advisory, I work with churches, honestly, across the country, helping them get clear so they can run faster. Notice I didn't say louder or trendier, clearer, because ultimately we here at Andrus Advisory believe that clarity scales and chaos doesn't. Okay, I've given you time to grab the EasterOS Playbook. I hope you've got it in front of you. You downloaded it, open it up to page 1 because I'm ready to roll. Are y'all ready? Okay, let's go. First of all, before we get into the EasterOS, let me just reframe what Easter is, because I know a lot of us come into it from a bunch of different traditions, and that is the beauty of celebrating the resurrection of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I say Easter because the culture knows that as the term. I know I got a bunch of people right now watching this. It's Resurrection Sunday. Hey, call it what you need. I'm just saying, when people are searching for a place to be on April 5th of 2026, they're typing in Easter near me. Okay, I'm moving on. Let me not get in trouble at the beginning. But here's the truth. Easter's not just a service. I genuinely believe that Easter is a stress test. And hear me out. Easter reveals how clear your messaging is. It reveals how strong your volunteer culture is. It reveals how obvious your next step is. It reveals how disciplined your calendar is. Now, here's the truth. Momentum doesn't create systems. Momentum exposes weak ones, and growth amplifies what already exists. So if your structure is strong, Easter will accelerate you. If your structure is fragile, like that egg, Easter may crack it. Okay, here's what I want to help you understand. And this is what the EasterOS Playbook outlines. So if you're following along in the EasterOS Playbook, you're going to find that there are over 8 different sections that I unload and unpack. Of course, I want you to take a minute. I want you to go through all those after we unwrap the webinar, but I'm going to just kind of pace through them, highlight some things that I think are important, highlight some things that I think are crucial, and then I'll be here will be here to help you walk through and install this OS, not just into Easter, but into the lifeblood of your church. I can't wait to unpack that at the end of the webinar. So let's talk about the 4 load-bearing pillars. Remember, Easter is a stress test. It is here, the weight of people coming with their families, dressed up, beautiful, ready to worship our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, will expose our preparation. And hear me, I pray above all things that your team and your heart is prepared for the beauty of what happens when you share the gospel message with families who come in without hope and they're transformed by the power of Jesus. Hear me, transformed by the power of Jesus. Okay, let's get into these load-bearing pillars that you'll find inside of the EasterOS Playbook. If you open it up to the framework section, right? This is right at the beginning. As we walk through these, I'm going to ask you kind of one question over and over, and this is the one I want you to keep ruminating in the back of your head, and that is, if 30 to 40% more people showed up, would this pillar hold? Right? Okay, let's get into number one. Pillar number 1 to EasterOS. We're going to have our best Easter ever. This is our best strategic Easter ever. Pillar number 1 is an attractive Sunday. What do I mean by an attractive Sunday? An engineered experience, right? When I say attractive, it's important to know, I don't mean trendy, and I don't mean compelling necessarily. I do mean that it is worth someone's time, that it is clear enough to build trust, that it is strong enough to hold weight. And if you have the playbook open right now, this is where, right at the beginning, I talk about the service flow. And this is why the service flow guide becomes incredibly critical, because I lay this out in detail inside that section, not just as a philosophy, but I give you the actual structure of that experience. An attractive Sunday, for me, rests on 5 essentials. And here they are. First, it has to be spirit-filled. Yeah, I'm going there right at the beginning. It has to be spirit-filled. You cannot engineer flow. Let me say that different. You can engineer flow, but you cannot manufacture transformation. No, my friend, that only comes from an encounter with the Almighty God. Without the Spirit, services may impress people, but they won't change people. So here's the real practical tension. I need you, leading up to Easter, to pray like it depends on God. But I need you to plan like it depends on you. Before the doors open, I want you to pray with your teams, not a rush circle prayer. I mean, set the tone spiritually. Yeah, I'm old school. We're going through the room and we're laying hands on every seat, believing God that he will encounter every person who comes across our threshold. Now, in the playbook, I walk through how to intentionally design response space, not wing it, response space, meaning what happens after I've heard your worship and I've been convicted by the message. I want you to think through now so that the altar moment isn't emotionally manipulative or awkward, that it's clear, that it's calm, and it's direct. This is where the Spirit will do his best work. And remember, Spirit-led, I got to say this, Spirit-led does not mean chaotic. The fruit of the Spirit, there's no fruit of the Spirit called weirdness, right? The fruits that we need to know are love, peace, and everyone's favorite, self-control. Okay, part 2 of an attractive Sunday, attractive service, an attractive Easter is it needs to be dependable. Let me tell you what that means. It needs to be dependable because consistency is what builds trust. If guests don't know what to expect, they don't come back. It needs to start on time. It needs to end on time. In order for that to happen, you need to run a Thursday or Friday rehearsal before Easter. You need to test every mic, see every slide, walk the kids' hallway, walk the bathrooms, walk the back hallway that you don't think anybody's going to end up down, but because they got lost, somehow they ended up back here. But here's what I do. Inside of the service blueprint section of the playbook, if you flip ahead one more page, inside the service section of the playbook, I give you a sample run of show grid. I mark for you minute by minute, yes, obsessively, minute by minute, because God cannot respond to what we do not prepare. Let me say that again. God cannot respond to what we do not prepare. I give you a minute by minute playbook because dependable doesn't happen accidentally. It is scheduled. It requires discipline, and Easter is the best Sunday to lean into that because excellence ultimately is not about ego. I want you to create an excellent experience because it creates trust. You do not honor guests by being spontaneous. Let me say that one more time. You do not honor guests by being spontaneous. You honor them by being prepared. And from that preparedness, should spontaneity happen, it's done in a way that at its baseline is excellent. And the spontaneity only increases the experience. I'm all about a move of the Spirit. Don't hear me. Don't shut off your ears. I'm all about a move of the Spirit. But I believe that the Spirit breathes on our preparation. Okay, number 3 in the Attractive Sunday, we're only in the first pillar. I love this. I'm having a blast already. Number 3 is it has to be approachable. Let me just pause there for a second. It has to be approachable. Guests should never feel like outsiders. So here's what you do. You have to audit your language. This is not the Sunday. Easter is not the Sunday to talk about all the inside jokes. It's not the Sunday to use all of your plethora of brands that you have across your church, right? Ask yourself as you're planning Easter, are we using insider phrases? Are we assuming biblical literacy? Are we assuming that everyone's church and they know exactly what it means to sign up for baptism? Are we assuming that every single person knows what our next step is? Are we assuming that every person knows what we call our youth meeting? No, they don't. And so I'm encouraging you at Easter to reprogram. By the way, and I'll talk about this a little bit, what I'm encouraging you to do here on Easter is what I would encourage you to do 52 Sundays a year. But we can get to that. Stay tuned. I'm talking about that here, okay? Inside of the playbook, if we keep going, you'll see a section in there around the guest experience. Guest experience is what I define as the first 7 minutes of someone driving or entering into your church or your campus, right? It is, I say this all the time, people make a decision if they're coming back to your church within the first 7 minutes. So oftentimes what happens between them driving into your parking lot, getting out of their car, walking through the front door, and stepping into your sanctuary or auditorium or your gathering space is oftentimes more spiritual than what happens for the rest of the service, right? And so that very aggressive parking person in the parking lot, or the person who cut them off as they entered the parking lot and then waved them in the front door, or the greeter or usher who was not polite or kind or acknowledged their children, all of those things can become distractions. And so in the guest experience notes inside the playbook, I outline what are those common friction points so that you can be prepared to receive your guests, to receive people visiting your church this Easter season with excellence. So I mark out specifically places like signage, places in which you need to give more explanation moments. I give you cues for hospitality language. And hear me, you're like, Sheldon, this is lightweight. I want to talk about the power of God and rising on the third day. But here's the deal. Yes, you should talk about that. But the stuff I'm talking about is not light. This stuff is spiritual. It's strategy. All right. I think in this season, this is when you train your greeters to explain what's happening. This is where you put clear signage everywhere. Number one sign you need to make sure you have in your church this Easter is the bath. Where are the bathrooms? I don't know. America's gotten smaller bladders. If you're watching and you're in international, I know I got tons of international. Shout out to all of my family in Nigeria. Hey, listen. Where are the bathroom signs? Where's the bathroom? All right. You're going to talk about communion. Explain communion. Don't assume everyone understands. Explain offering. And by the way, while you're explaining offering, remove the burden. Hey, listen, if you're just visiting, offering is because we believe in being obedient. You're going to get there. You're not there today. Don't worry about it. This is just for us, right? Like, this is not the Sunday. Explain prayer moments. When you are taken to a moment of corporate prayer or responsorial prayer, explain what's happening. Act as if people are trying to connect with you, right? If you knew someone was sitting in the audience, listening and watching your service, and they wanted to connect, how would you talk? How would you present the gospel? How would you present your mission? Talk like that this Sunday. Okay, because approachable doesn't dilute your theology. It removes unnecessary friction. Okay, I'm taking way too long, but I'm having fun here. Here's the fourth part of an attractive Sunday. It has to point people to Jesus. Let me just pause. It has to point people to Jesus. If guests leave impressed by your brand and your band, but unclear about Jesus, you missed it. All right? Every element of an Easter Sunday, and dare I say every element of the other 51 Sundays a year, should orbit one thing: Christ. So a shorter message, yeah, this Sunday, for sure. one resurrection truth, one clear gospel invitation, not a buried response moment. Yes, we are asking if you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior today. This is not, I know we got a lot of new types of churches, but on Easter Sunday, it's about the beauty of the gospel message, and we're not hiding from it. It's the power of the gospel that enables us to do what we do. So in the message guideline section of the playbook, I explain why Easter is not the day to unpack your hermeneutical magic, right? It is not the moment for your 5 theological moments. It is the time to land the plane with clarity. Christ came, he died so that you can have an eternal life. Give one clear response at the end. We'll talk about the response pathway in a few moments. Easter is not a seminary lecture. Hear me, Pastor. This is not the time to be impressive. This is the time to be clear. Okay, last one of an attractive Sunday. I'm only on pillar number 1, y'all. I hope y'all are having fun. Hope y'all are opening this playbook. You're flipping through it. If you don't have the playbook right now, the QR code is on the screen. The link is down below. Hurry up, grab it. You're not too late, but I know, if you're rolling with me by now, you absolutely have it. You're reading it and you're flipping along with me. Okay, part number 5. This is 5 parts. This is pillar number 1. Sunday has to be attractional, and there are 5 parts to being attractional. It has to be spirit-led, it has to be dependable, it has to point people to Jesus, and it's got to have a clear call to action. Here's the 5th one. It has to have a clear call to action. It has to have a clear next step, because inspiration without direction is wasted. So every service we offer must answer these 3 questions. What do I do next? After I've heard your worship, after I've been convicted by this message, what is it that you want me to do with it? What do I do next? And then when does that next thing happen? Is it today? Is it Monday? Is it next week? Do I have to wait a month for it to happen again? And then how do you want me to respond? Do you want me to scan a QR code? Do you want me to go to a table? Do you want me to fill out a connect card? How do you want me to handle the response? The service flow guide that's in the playbook literally, I think forces you to script this, right? And I walk you through line by line of how to make that moment make sense. And watch this in your context, right? This is strategy in a box. This is not church in a box. Let me be super clear. This is strategy in a box, not church in a box. I want you to breathe your culture and your style into this. But some of these things I'm saying are baseline tenets to being successful in creating an attractional service that builds momentum. So slow down your final 5 minutes. This is related to your service flow. And that having a clear next step. Slow down your final 5 minutes of your message. Repeat your instructions slowly. Make sure there's a QR code or whatever the next step is visible on whatever presentations or screens you have. Keep it visible. Talk slowly. Assume you're saying it for the very first time to people who have never heard it before, because by God's grace, there'll be lots of them. Because here's a truth you need to know. Clarity converts and confusion slows momentum. Now, real quick, under those 5, let me not, because those are philosophies. Let me give you systems. Y'all know I'm a systems guy. I love some systems. That's what I do for a living. Andrews Advisory helps give systems to growing churches. So if you look at the service blueprint pages within the playbook, you'll see that I break this kind of into some what I call controllable variables. An attractive Sunday is engineered around 5 of them. Let me give them to you quickly. First, you need a run of show discipline, right? I think in order for you to have an attractional Sunday that is dependable, you need a clear run of show or service order or order of service, whatever you want to call it. Create a minute-by-minute document, right? Hey, how long is the welcome? Hey, how long is the worship? How long will that creative testimony be? How long will the message be? What amount of time will we provide for response and next steps? And then what buffers or transitional moments? I lay this out in excruciating detail inside the playbook. Don't hear me, breathe your individuality into it. But that play that I'm showing you is the play I've run, and I've been honored to learn and glean from great pastors as they've built this and tweaked it and changed it over many, many years. And I'm giving it to you all at one time. So I'd say to you, at the very minimum, create your order of service minute by minute. There's a grid. The grid is in the playbook for a reason. Because if you can't tell me exactly how long each segment is, it means you're improvising. And you know this. When people start improvising in church, it can get weird. Okay, let me get out of there. Part 2, transition scripting. Okay, transition scripting. Every major transition should be thought through and, dare I say, written out. We want to know who walks on stage. We want to know what they're going to say. We want to know what they're going to say. Easter is not the time to practice on people. We want to know what they're going to say. What are your talking points? Okay, great. Let's not say that. Yep, that sounds great. And we can condense that down to 2 minutes instead of 4, right? This is a Sunday to be that, right? What is the band doing underneath that conversation, right? If I'm having a prayer moment, does the band know to shift and change their tone? If I'm celebrating next steps, or if I'm celebrating movement, is everyone cleared and cued to know what's happening next? This is obsessive, but the Bible says that he who wins souls is wise. Okay. In the transitions, do we know what slides are going to be on the screen when what is being said? Again, rehearsal is not antithetical to hosting the presence of God. There's an example transition script that I put in the guide so that you're not guessing, because the truth is awkward pauses kill trust. So I encourage you to script it, rehearse it, and trim it. Okay, part 3, another third system is message compression. Hey, pastor, come over here. Do me a favor. On Easter Sunday, cut 20% from your normal message. Remove that third illustration. Remove that secondary theological deep dive into something you learned in seminary. Do me a favor. Land one clear resurrection truth that ties to people's real pain, their real emotion. And then right after that, drive one clear response. So I give you in the playbook what I call message compression notes. It's a way for you to think about your message in a considerable time frame that will allow people to not only hear but feel what you're saying without going too long or too short. And then how to make that close and that pivot to where it does not create, while it will absolutely create emotion, that emotion is then harnessed into movement. And then fourth system is the pre-service environment, right? So in the playbook, I outline that doors open 15 minutes early, that music is already playing, that greeters are in position, kids check-in is fully staffed, ready to go, and the photo moment, which we'll talk about, is visible. Those photo moments, hey, listen, don't discount them. Don't laugh at all that. You see, what's going to happen is you're going to get home Sunday night at Easter, you're going to see everybody else's photo moment, you're going to say, why didn't we have a photo moment? Because Sheldon is telling you right now, it's free organic marketing. We'll talk about marketing. I got a whole marketing plan for you. Do not turn this webinar off. The pre-service checklist that's in the playbook exists so that you don't overlook this critical layer, because first impressions are, I believe, honestly, spiritual moments. And attractive Sundays are not creative accidents. They're engineered experiences. Okay, that's pillar number 1. Pillar number 1 is an attractive Sunday. Pillar number 2, to EasterOS. To how do I operationalize, systematize a great Easter experience that not only builds momentum on this one Sunday on April 5th, but then ultimately builds momentum for my church? Here we go. Pillar number 2, you have to have an obvious first step. This is movement. All right. Now, before I define what the first step is, I know some of you are wondering, like, what does that mean? Let me define what it's not. A next step or first step is not a menu. It's not a list of ministries that we want you to join. It's not get connected whenever you're ready. Hey, we'll be here when you're ready. Yeah, that's true. We will be. But today we're giving you a very clear next step. A next step is a single, time-bound, directional action that moves someone from inspiration to participation. Let me say that one more time. A next step. When I say next step, I'm talking about a single, time-bound, directional action that moves someone from inspiration to participation. The next step answers 4 questions. What do I do? When does it happen? Where do I go? And why does it matter? If those 4 answers are not crystal clear on Easter Sunday, you don't actually have a next step. You have a suggestion. And suggestions don't convert. Clarity does. So if you have the playbook open, this is where the 30-day next step conversion plan and first step framework are going to become the lifeblood of how you gain momentum after Easter. Remember, it's going to be your best Easter ever if it's your most strategic Easter ever. So in the 30-day conversion plan and first step framework, I map the movement sequence for you so that you're not guessing what happens after Easter. Now, with that definite in place, your next step must be 4 things: specific, scheduled, visible, and easy. It must be specific. It has to be clear. What is it that you want me to actually do? Not vague, not generic, not a list. It must be scheduled. When do you want me to do it? Is it today? Do you want me to do it on Monday? Is it happening next week? Is it happening on Friday? Like, tell me when it is. 3, it's got to be visible, meaning when I say it, I need to see it on the screens. I need to see it in the room. I need to see the QR code. I need to see the tap, the RF tap, the cool thing that a lot of you are putting in your churches where you tap your phone to it. I love it. It's beautiful, but it needs to be visible. And last but not least, it has to be easy. You do not want to create a next step that feels like a series of hurdles. So just for example, let's say you choose baptism Sunday, okay? Then your language would sound something like this. Here's an example. Next Sunday at every service is baptism Sunday. If you made the decision today, this is your next step. So do us a favor, scan the QR code or stop by the lobby in the table in the lobby, and we'll walk you through everything. Notice what's missing. It's not vague. There's not multiple options. And there is no confusion about what we want you to do. Now, take that action and we're going to build what I call the conversion bridge, right? Because action alone does not produce enough movement. You have to pull this thing through. Okay, so what happens is within the next 24 hours after they make that action, this is on Easter Sunday, so this is before Monday afternoon, within 24 hours, every first-time visitor who raises their hand and says, hey, it's my first time visiting your church this Sunday, they're going to get a text message. They're going to get an email recap with photos from Easter celebrating the day. And then they'll get a link directly to that baptism registration just in case they got busy with Easter brunch and the photo booth and forgot to sign up, okay? This is all happening within 24 hours. Within 48 hours, you're going to call all of your salvation decisions, everyone who gave their life to Jesus, you're going to celebrate them and you're going to invite them personally back to church next Sunday to take their next step, which is, let's see if you got it. I heard you, baptism. In week 1, you're going to launch a strong series. The 1 week following Easter, you're going to launch a strong series. You're going to mention baptisms. You're going to celebrate those publicly. Now, let me make this easy for you because I know you're like, whoa, okay, you just dumped a lot on my plate. I've already written all of this for you in the playbook, like all of it. Me and my brain and a little bit of Chat GPT, we have taken all of the scripting I've ever done and we've condensed it. We've given you the 24-hour email script. It's in the playbook. Flip right there. Yes. The text message, literally, I've written the text messages for you. I've even written the scripts for the follow-up team when they make the phone call because I don't leave nothing a chance, okay? I've even, for you pastors, for the Sunday of Easter and the follow-up conversation, I've even helped you with some baptism invitation language. So you are ready to rock. You have the playbook, right? Okay, I'm asking a dumb question because of course you do. Why wouldn't you have the playbook that's going to help grow your church more than just Easter, but for the rest of the year? Okay, you're not starting from a blank page. I got you. And so here's how I want you to use it. Here, let me just put some around this copy part because some of you are going to get really excited. Because you're master communicators, so you're gonna want to tweak this, but don't edit it for creativity, right? I wrote it, and I've learned how to write it through all of my trial and error to write it for clarity and voice. Do me a favor, personalize the names, adjust the service times, but keep the structure intact. And then here's how you make sure it happens, pastor. If you're listening, pastor, or if you're a leader in your church, here's how you make sure it happens. You need to assign one person on your team to own the execution of it, to load the emails into your system before Easter weekend. Schedule the emails. They don't have to be written on Saturday night. They don't have to be written on Sunday after church. You can write these today, schedule them for April 5th, April 7th, April 12th. Okay, I just did the math. Y'all know I'm not good at the math. Y'all pray for me. All right. Schedule the text sequence in advance. Brief the follow-up callers using the provided script before Sunday, because here's why. Execution speed matters. And when someone says yes, momentum dies in the delay. right? So we want to be urgent with this next step. We want to be present. We want to be felt. This is, hey, you did the thing we asked you to do, and we want to let you know we are ready to bring you on and in to our family. I wrote the scripts so that within 24 hours, you're not brainstorming, you're not approving copy, you're executing. This is go time. If you do not stack these moments intentionally, Easter will leak. That's why in total that 30-day conversion plan exists. It's not to inspire you. It's to operationalize your follow through. Okay, y'all having fun? We're halfway through. We got 2 more pillars I want to touch on. Here's pillar number 3 for EasterOS. Sheldon, give me a system that's going to help my Easter grow my church. I don't want to just have one big Sunday where I get a whole bunch of people and then I look up in 2 weeks and it's the same that it was the 3 weeks before. Okay, here's the one I think pillar 3 is the one you're probably not thinking I'm going to say, but I think it's completely urgent and incredibly important that you master: volunteer coverage. Let me just pause there because you didn't think I was going there. Volunteer coverage, right? This is engineering your capacity. So if you have the playbook open, look at the it's called the 60-day workflow section. Specifically, there's a section in there called team alignment, along with the serve rally plan. And I gave you that timeline on purpose because Easter strength is built weeks before Easter Sunday. Let me say this really, really clearly. You've heard me say this, but it bears repeating. People are not the tools to accomplish your mission. People are the mission. Volunteer coverage isn't really about just filling slots. It's about forming disciples. Easter provides us a massive opportunity, not just to connect guests to salvation and belonging, but to connect your serve team, watch this, to purpose and ownership. If you treat volunteers like labor, you will burn them out. If you treat volunteers like future leaders, you'll build culture. Okay, let me give you some strategy. Let's talk numbers. If you average, let's say you're a 600 person in church in attendance, that means you need roughly 180 to 210 active volunteers. Notice I didn't say 90. Notice I didn't say 110. You need 30 to 35% of your Sunday attendance actively serving on Easter, because coverage creates margin, margin creates calm, and calm breathes excellence. And here's one layer deeper, right? Here, let's take it down one more layer. You don't recruit for Easter, right? You invite people into the process. And here's how. Let me give you a quick framework. First, cast vision before you cast need. Don't say, we just need more help. We just need more help. Show up, help us. No, say Easter is coming. People are going to meet Jesus. And we get to build the environment that makes that possible. Connect people serving to other people's salvation. Connect greeting to belonging. Connect parking to creating peace, because people give themselves to purpose, not to pressure. Okay, second, how do I build that volunteer muscle, Sheldon? How do I get that volunteer team? Give ownership, not just assignments. So instead of filling random positions, appoint team leads and coordinators. Appoint a parking lead, a kids check-in lead, a follow-up lead. Brief them early. Give them a playbook for what you want those moments to feel like when guests arrive on your campus. Let them then recruit their teams, right? You don't have to do all the recruiting. Turn them loose. That's what leadership development looks like. Okay, here's the third key to growing that volunteer culture and volunteer team for Easter. Bring them behind the curtain. Yeah, bring them behind the curtain. Host a serve team rally. I like to say 2 weeks out, right? I'm going to bring everybody in the room, and I'm going to get everybody pumped about the life change. I'm going to share stories from last Easter about families that gave their life to Jesus and they're now thriving and growing in our church. I'm going to pray over the family members that our serve team is excited that are coming to Easter and going to meet. I'm praying for Pookie and I'm praying for Ray Ray, that they come to church and they have a radical life-changing encounter and they become Pernell and Ray now. Okay, I'm joking. Let me get out of there. That's Pookie and Ray Ray's real name. Y'all didn't know they had real names? That's crazy. Y'all didn't know they had real names? Okay, they have real names. But I'm going to host a serve team rally 2 weeks out, and then I'm going to walk them through the vision, right? Here's what's on our heart for this season, for Easter. I'm going to show them the service flow. There's going to be no surprises. Easter's not the Sunday to surprise the serve team. I'm going to show them the service flow, and watch this. I'm going to explain to them the follow-up plan. I want them to know. Because remember, your serve team is the people inviting. They're the people ultimately inviting to church, right? They're the best marketing. I'm coming to marketing. I know you all got on this webinar for my marketing plan, and I'm going to give it to you. It's, matter of fact, if you're smart, you've already flipped ahead in the playbook and you're already reading it. But if your volunteers know, if your serve team knows that you've went out of your way, painstakingly out of your way to create a process to make sure that their family members and their baristas and their barbers and their babysitters are going to be cared for along their spiritual journey, they're going to be infinitely more likely to invite them. Because when volunteers understand the system, ultimately they serve differently. And my favorite, they invite differently. Okay, here's a fourth part of creating that magnetic volunteer culture that's going to grow your church on Easter. Celebrate salvations. Close the loop. This is all under the idea of closing the loop, but celebrate salvations with your serve team, right? Share the stories, share the send thank you messages to them, personalized messages, send some text messages. Hey, celebrate. A lot of us struggle as leaders because we go from one big project to the next big project and we never pause to thank and celebrate the amount of work and effort it takes to execute some of these things. I'm telling you, days before Easter, weeks before Easter, intentionally put it on your calendar. Hey, Sunday after Easter, not only am I following up, but I'm also following up with the team to thank them. Let them see the fruit of their obedience. That's how serving ultimately becomes discipleship. Now, structurally, let me give you some practical tips to build out your serve team, right? And wave, I call these coverage waves, right? In wave 1, this is 6 weeks out before Easter, audit every position. Hey, what do we need? What does an audit look like? What do we need to make sure Easter works? Put a list. We need 6 people in the toddler class. We need 4 people in the elementary class. We need 3 people in the middle school middle school class. Okay, great. And then we need 12 people in the parking lot. We need 6 people singing worship. We need 9 greeters and 6 ushers. Go through the list. Put every position so you know, hey, you need to know at least 6 weeks out, wow, we either got to do a lot of recruiting or look, hey, we're good. We just got to get a couple more folks in that Sunday to serve, right? Wave number 2, 4 weeks out. This is when you start to direct your personal ask to fill in those gaps. You say, hey, our normal course of team, we're going to be at around 60 to 70% staffed. I got to fill that other 30. This is when you're going to start reaching out to people in the church who may not be actively serving or who may have a desire to serve but haven't been serving over in the last few weeks. This is when you're going to start reaching out and directly filling those. Now, in wave 3, we're now 2 weeks out. This is when I'm going to start to confirm every role in writing. I don't mean some like weird HR writing. I mean, hey, now, if those of you who use church management systems, I won't name them all because none of them are sponsoring this video. But if you use a church management system, you know you can send a request and people can accept it or decline it. The famous declines. We want to eliminate as many declines on Easter as we possibly can. But if you're not in the church management system, this is as simple as sending a personalized email or text message saying, hey, Rob, just confirming, we see that you're scheduled to lead in the parking lot this Easter Sunday for service. Are you confirmed? Remember, arrival times at 8:30. We'll have our big huddle, and then we'll celebrate after. Like, just in writing, hey, I got it, I'm good. That some people just need the mental exercise of being reminded. Y'all, people are busy. We're called to think about Easter Sunday. They're called to think about serving their church, and then where's the ham? You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, can I get an amen, somebody? Like, they're thinking about what the kids are wearing, hair styles, makeup, family coming over, celebratory things. Like, so just a simple, short email or text message confirming every role in writing. And then week 4, the week of, we're rehearsing. Anybody who's a part of ensuring that the experience is happening, especially worship, creative production, all of the people who are making sure everything is happening within the room, we're rehearsing. And then I'm sending out mass email reminders to the team, letting them know expectations, timestamps, what time we have to be, places, and all that good stuff. Here's the language shift I just don't want you to lose. Here's the language shift that matters. It's not, can you help? Let me say it again. The language shift that matters here around building a volunteer culture is not, can you help? But it's, will you help us create what someone can experience on Easter? That language converts guests into contributors. I want you to use in the playbook, I want you to use the 60-day workflow and final execution checklist, because in it, I show you exactly when to rally, when to send those confirmation emails, and when to test your systems through rehearsals. Volunteer coverage is not logistics, y'all. It is pastoral leadership. All right, we've reached pillar number 4. And pillar number 4 is what I call it engineered leadership. This is the anchor calendar. This is engineered leadership. Here's the truth. Easter is one of 52 Sundays. It's one of 52 Sundays, but it is undoubtedly one of your key momentum movers. For most churches listening to this webinar, it's going to be your largest attended Sunday of the year. Think about that. It's going to be your largest attended Sunday of the year. And if stewarded correctly, it can carry you in well into the summer, still riding the wave of momentum and impact. But if you mishandle it, it becomes a spike. And the bigger the spike, you know this, the harder the dip. And the difference is whether you see Easter as an event or as part of a larger system. Now, in the playbook, I want you to look at the master calendar and the post-Easter momentum sections, because those ultimately they exist to force you to see Easter inside of a sequence, not in isolation, right? Easter is intended to feed the next thing. It should launch something. It should hand off onto something. And honestly, this is the type of systematic and executive leadership that I want you to start thinking about, and that I want to help you start to frame, right? So let's systematize that idea down to, I want you to try to lock things in at least 45 days out. Depending on when you're watching this, you might already be behind, but hear me. Let me give you the list. So maybe you're like, oh, Sheldon, I actually got a couple of those things already done, so I'm not as far out as I thought. If you have none of these things, hey, let's get to work right now. As soon as you're done with this webinar, call the team. Let's get to work. Like Easter is coming. Okay, here are the 5 things. First, lock in your theme. What's the thematic thrust? Thank you. I just heard one of my former pastors in my mind. What's your thematic thrust? What's your theme? Second, what's your scripture anchor? It's good that the whole team is aware of where you're coming from mentally, emotionally throughout the Easter conversation for your church. What are your service times? Are you doing multiple services this Easter? Sheldon, do I need multiple services? Oh, that's a great question. Oh, I love that question. I don't have time to get into it. DM me if you want to have that conversation. Sheldon, how do I know how many services I need to have this Easter? I see some churches do 5 or 6. Do I need to do 5 or 6? No, you don't. Especially if you're not only doing one, don't go up to 5. But here's a short one. If your room is currently at 80% full on a regular Sunday, I highly recommend, Pastor, I highly recommend that you recommend to your pastor that you consider adding a second service. I can unpack later why. Make sure you have the baptism Sunday date, because you're probably going to talk about that on Easter. I would pray. My suggestion to you, my advice to you is to put baptism on the Sunday following Easter. That's Easter. If you're in 2026, if you're watching this 2026, we're talking about Easter Sunday, April 12th, right? 7 days after April 5th. Y'all, math. And then I would also be thinking about your post-Easter series. Notice 2 of those 5 are post-Easter decisions, right? And that's what's intentional. 2 of those 5, Baptism Sunday and your post-Easter series, those are intentional post-Easter decisions, because we make intentional decisions, then build backwards from Easter, right? So now that we know Easter's coming, you need to know, I'm talking to a bunch of the creative team, I'm talking to the social team if you're listening, when are invites needing to be printed? When is the landing page going to go live? When are volunteer rallies? When is the volunteer rally scheduled for? When are email sequences written and scheduled? When does your summer vision series start? That way you can start to think, hey, here's what's coming up. Here's what's happening next. And here's how we can ensure that we are prepared and not caught off guard. Because the truth is, if these decisions float, stress rises. And if they're locked, confidence rises. Now, okay, zoom out. Let's go 30,000 feet. Easter should create a 4-week runway. So let's look at the calendar. Open up the big calendar. We're looking at the month of April. Easter is week 1. That's Easter. That creates salvation and clarity. Here's what I'm advising you to do. I'm in your grits, okay? You're listening to the webinar. I'm in it with you, okay? Week 1, the week after Easter, it's Baptism Sunday. This is the public declaration of movement, right? Baptism Sunday creates a massive amount of energy for your church. People are going to invite their family to come watch them get baptized. You're going to be able to tell these beautiful stories of how people gave their life to Jesus on Easter, came back the next Sunday, and went public with their faith. Week 3, this is Easter's week 1, baptism is week 2. Week 3, this is the continuation of your series. If you have a small group community, this is a great weekend to kick off small groups. This is pulling you further into the fabric of our church, right? But the series continuation happens. And then week 4, right? Week 4, this is when we celebrate all the people who took first steps throughout the month. This is us introducing all of the new members of our serve team to the church, right? Because we offered a new next step every week, and we move those people through that process. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It shouldn't take any more than 3 weeks to move them through that next step process. If you don't have a next step process fully vetted, don't hang up the webinar. We got more to talk about. Got a little bit more to talk about, right? But that 4-week series is not accidental, right? This is the system design that I find many churches are lacking. So my admonishment to you is to plan the Sunday after Easter with the same intensity as Easter, because it happens 52 times. Hit your opener, high energy, baptisms, series launch, public celebration of baptisms, clear invitation for all that stuff. This is how you prevent that Easter slump. Now, in the playbook, I give you the master calendar, and it exists so nothing floats. It forces decision dates right now, and it shows you how Easter feeds the next 90 days. Y'all, listen. Don't get lost in the sauce, because momentum stacking is not hype. It is calendar engineering. Okay, I know what you're here for. And I know what you're here for. You're here for the marketing plan. Some of you are like, Sheldon, I got all of that. Just give me a good marketing plan. All right, here's the marketing plan that I learned working at, that one really cool church. You know the one. It's the one that grew from 1,200 people to 15,000 people in 3 years. And it was my PhD in seeing how systems get implemented and tweaked. So I'm going to be super transparent. This is not hype. This isn't tricks. This is just sequencing, y'all. All right. Here's how the marketing plan works. Drum roll. I don't have a drum roll, but let's go with it. There are 3 tiers that I outline in the playbook, right? And in the playbook, in the marketing section, tier 1 is the primary engine. I call these tier 1 marketing activities, right? Tier 1 is the primary engine of your marketing strategy. If you execute tier 1 alone, just execute tier 1 with discipline, you will create massive momentum for Easter. Here's my admonishment to you. Do not pick one. Don't pick and choose. Do them all. Yeah, hear me. Do all of it. They're all incredibly low cost, but they're high leverage. And I've seen it work too many times to show it to you as optional. Okay? It's in the playbook right now. You're reading it. You're like, oh yeah, Sheldon, we can absolutely execute tier 1. If you don't do anything else for Easter, please just execute the tier 1. Tier 1 will set you'll be amazed by what just the tier 1s can execute. They're all listed there in detail, every single one of them, okay? So in tier 1, you're going to find out that invite culture and own channels are your primary energy, okay? Are y'all tracking with that? I give in the in that tier 1, it's important to know that invite culture that I'm helping you form in marketing sense is the highest ROI or return on investment strategy in the church, right? The word of mouth is free, y'all. Hello, somebody, it's free. And I unpack this in detail inside the playbook, but I give you the exact cadence, the weekly email rhythm, the Sunday night bridge emails, the language that you should stay from stage, all the frameworks. I'm not going to reteach the whole tier 1 here because it's literally in the playbook. So do me a favor. Readers are leaders, so read, please, because in there is gold if you execute it with precision. Tier 2, that's where you're going to get into social media and text messaging. This is what I call the reinforcement layer. In tier 2, it reinforces tier 1, and ultimately it is repetition, because repetition creates response. I'll say it again, repetition creates response. And it helps people get clear, and it creates visibility. So I list all of the things you can do in tier 2 in the full calendar sequence is in the playbook. Hear me, y'all. I'm trying to help you not have to wing this. Pastor, executive pastor, associate pastor, creative director, worship leader, you're like, I want to have a great Easter. Don't wing it. Let me help you, okay? Follow the rhythm that's laid out in that guide, and I promise you, if you just did tier 1, you'd beast Easter. If you did tier 1 with a little tier 2, whoa. Now, as they say in the South, you're cooking with grease, baby. You're cooking with grease. Here's what I want to do. I want to spend just a little bit of time on tier 3. So I outline the tier 3 activities because this is where churches waste money. Or if you're doing tier 1 and 2, you can multiply momentum. So those of you who are in a position to multiply momentum, let me talk to you for a little bit, because tier 3 is the tier of paid amplification, right? And I call it strategic fuel, because paid ads, what you need to know is paid ads, I consider They're rented attention, okay? Because you don't control the algorithm, you don't control cost volatility, you don't control audience behavior. So tier 3 should not be your engine. Hear me. It should not be your engine. It should be fuel that you pour onto an engine that is into an engine that's already running. And here's how I would admonish you. Let me give you a couple of things that I would do to execute it properly. One, target geography, not curiosity, right? Because people curious about Jesus exist in San Diego, California, and New York at the same time. No one's flying from New York to San Diego, mostly, to come to your church service. So I say run tight geographic targeting around your physical location. 5 to 10 mile radius would kill. You know this. If everybody in a 5 mile radius came to your church, it would be a revival. So why are you 75 miles out on your targeting on your ads? Let's not. 5 to 10 miles is great. Don't chase broad audience and interests. Use church proximity. Okay, here's number 2. Lead with clarity here, not creativity. Let me say it again. If you're going to spend money on ads for Easter, lead with clarity, not creativity. I talk in the playbook about how you should talk about Easter, how you should name your Easter. A lot of you are being really creative, and what happens when you're really creative is you become less searchable. We live in a digital SEO, search engine optimization world, which means he who controls the search results controls the movement. So when people search things like church near me, Easter services nearby, but you're calling your Easter service blood and roses. Well, they're not searching blood and roses. They're not searching for Resurrection Sunday prayer service. They're not searching for that. I'm not saying that's not what you're doing, but make the title searchable. Have clear headline, have clear service times, clearly list your location, because there's a First Baptist in every city in America. So which First Baptist are you? And then have a clear call to action. Save your seat. Join us. Watch this video. Don't use clever metaphors. Don't use vague inspiration, because clarity converts better than creativity. Okay, 3, keep your creative simple. Repetition. If I showed you a yellow M, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's because it's yellow and it's golden, and the fries are delicious. Okay, let me get out of here. You're following. Keep it simple. Keep it strong. One strong image, one short 15 to 30-second video that plays in repetition. Pastor, put your face on the camera and invite people personally. Yes, that's me encouraging you. I know you're like, I don't want to do content. We need you, sir. We need you, ma'am. We need you to do the content. Overproduced ads, y'all, can I be honest? They reduce trust, right? Human invitation increases it. Okay, here's number 4. If you're going to spend money, budget with capacity in mind, right? In politics, they say money moves polls as much as polls move money. Let me say it again. Money moves polls as much as polls move money. So meaning the more money I spend, I can cause a reaction, right? And that reaction, it reacts back, right? And so what I say to you is, if you're going to spend money, scale your spend. If you have a parking lot of only 100 cars, that means you can only seat let me rephrase that. If you have a sanctuary that seats 300 people, it means you can probably only seat park 175 cars. You cannot run an ad spend so big that 400 cars show up, because you and I know no one's coming back if they have to sit in their car for 45 minutes to get in your church, right? They're not coming back immediately. The news is coming because they want to know what's happening. Maybe that's the energy you're going for, but I'm telling you, it's not what families are looking for. Moms don't want to have to traipse across parking lots for 20 minutes to get inside the room, right? So be careful over advertising, right? Because if you don't have the capacity, if you haven't added the second service, or if you're building or parking, or if you're landlocked and you don't have street parking, like, think through that. Marketing is fuel, and you do not pour gasoline on a fragile structure. So scale your ads only if your volunteer coverage, your follow-up, and your next shift systems are strong enough to hold a 30 to 40% growth. Okay, last one is retarget intentionally. Okay, if you don't know what retargeting is, hold on, don't still go spending money yet, because that's the game. Anyone who clicks on your Easter page, right, on your website, or lands on your website or any of your socials, your ads should follow them. I know everybody's like, they're listening to me. Or how did my phone know that I was interested in Easter? Because you interacted with me somewhere else down the line. That's called retargeting. And when you retarget, people then your ads start showing up everywhere they're looking. That's the magic of digital advertising, right? And so here's the deal, retarget intentionally. So make sure that when you retarget, you're giving them more information every time. So you need some ads that have your service times, some ads that mention kids. You need some ads that mention your location, because what you're trying to do is, just in ads alone, you're trying to build pre-knowledge. You ever been driving? You just use the McDonald's analogy again. You ever been driving down the highway and you see the golden arches and the burger, but it says nothing, and then you keep driving and the next billboard says 3 miles ahead, and then you keep driving and then it says open 24 hours. They don't say all of that on one billboard because you're going to miss it. What they do is they plant the seed, and then they tell you that it's 3 miles ahead, and then they tell you that it's open 24 hours. And by the time you see the exit, you're like, hey, I know there's okay, they're also not sponsoring this, so I'm not saying their name, but you know the one I'm talking about. Okay. That's retargeting. Tier 3, overall, Tier 3 is not about amplification. It's about amplification. Sorry. Tier 3 is about amplification. It's not about desperation. If Tier 1 builds the engine, Tier 2 increases repetition, and Tier 3 expands your reach. Okay. The 4 pillars of EasterOS. You have the playbook. Let me make sure you know everything that's inside, because you might have. I went through that fast, y'all. I went through that really fast. I didn't want to keep you on here all day because I could talk about this for hours. You know, I love it. You know me is to know I love a good system. But here's the truth: the playbook that you're reading, it's not a motivational PDF. I didn't write this for inspiration. I wrote this for application and execution. It is a working document. Now, let me just be clear: if you haven't gotten it yet, this is not a $9, one of them $9 buy my ebook situations. I just want to be super clear. I don't do those. I do not do those. This is an operating system that I personally use, not that I heard of, that I read, that I heard from somebody else, that I personally use to steward tens of thousands of people on Easter. Okay. And inside the playbook, you're going to find a whole bunch of stuff. Let me just give you a quick rundown, because I want you to see that it's action packed. 42 pages of systems, just systems. No inspiration. I'm not preaching to you in this. I'm telling you how to execute. So you'll get a 60-day Easter workflow in there. This is a week-by-week execution from alignment to follow-through. You'll get the service flow guide. This is the full run of show grid with timing structure and transition scripting examples, so you're not improvising on stage. It has messaging compression framework. This is how you tighten your messaging without losing its power, right? Less words, more power. I give you a pre-service environment checklist in there. This is lobby signage, kids, energy, music, all the things that create that palpable feeling of energy happening as people walk into the room. We talk through first steps. If you're like, Sheldon, we don't got a first step. People are going to come, but we don't know what they're going to do. I got you. I help you define that single direction and move, and then I give you the 30-day conversion plan. I give you exactly what to email, what to text, what to say after Easter. I give you the pre-written follow-up emails, the texts, and the phone call scripts. I tell you through the calendar, I help you understand when to have your serve team rally and how to create confirmation checklists for your volunteer team. And then one of my favorite things in the playbook is a master calendar. I have every day, 45 days out from Easter. Hey, on day 45, do this. On day 44, do this. On day 43, do this. On day 40, and I take you all the way down. Plus, using the 30-day momentum conversion calendar after, you honestly have 90 days of systematized momentum sitting in the PDF on your computer right now. And then last but not least, everybody's favorite, the marketing cadence. I show you the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 levels of marketing that add fuel to your fire, right? This is a system, y'all, EasterOS. And as I think through it, I think most churches honestly guess their way through Easter. They're going to brainstorm late. They're going to scramble midweek. They're going to celebrate Sunday. And then they're going to pray people return the next week. And let me just be blunt. Hope is not a strategy. I mean, if you're serious about stewarding this moment, I need you to stop guessing. Download that playbook, open it, assign it to some leaders, and execute it. This will be your best year ever. This will be your best Easter ever if it's your most strategic Easter ever. You have time. The clock is running, but you have time. If you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, you are not behind. Let's get it in gear. Easter is coming. The people are too. Now, the QR code is on the screen. The link is in the description for you to get the playbook. You probably already got it, but I just want to make sure you do. But don't do me a favor. Don't try to remember this webinar. Like, there's too much content, honestly. And I honestly said, I think I only went through maybe 20% of it. I went through maybe 20% of what's in the playbook. So download the playbook. Let's get cooking. We got work to do. Let me just say this. Let me just recalibrate this, because this can be overwhelming for some leaders. This can be overwhelming for some pastors. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. This can work at churches of every scale. Don't let the numbers I threw fool you. I've run the same play at a church of 60, and I've run it at 15,000. It works, okay? But Easter ultimately is not about the show or the marketing or the follow-up or the music. It's about people coming to know Jesus. And that salvation deserves to land in a structure, because grace does not oppose preparation. Order ultimately is what serves your ministry. You can prioritize people over production and still have excellence. Let me say that one more time. You can prioritize people over production and still have excellence. Okay, if you're serious about not wanting to waste Easter, go ahead, download the EasterOS Playbook. We've already talked about that. This webinar is really more of a conversation. The playbook is the operating system. But let me be super clear. Easter and EasterOS is just a tool. There are 51 other Sundays of the year. And what you're still listening to this webinar because you intrinsically know that Easter is a huge opportunity for you to grow your church. But let me just be brutally honest. There are 51 other great opportunities for you to grow your church. And if you don't see that there's a Sunday system, if you don't see everything I just said, everything I just laid out over the last period of time we've been together, if you don't see that as a part of a Sunday system, you're losing the momentum God gave you to grow your church. God gave you a growth strategy to grow your church. It's called Sundays. Let me say that one more time. God gave you. He literally orchestrated it in the creation of the earth. He put it there before you needed it. He put a 7-day routine rhythm, not only for you to meet him, but to grow your church. Right now, some of you, your Sundays feel like, not even Easter, but just in general, some of your Sundays feel really heavy. They feel hectic. The truth is, you don't have a people problem. You don't have a passion problem. You don't have a preaching problem. You just have a systems problem. And systems don't fix themselves, but they're not hard to fix. And so the way I see it right now, you have two options. You can keep adjusting something every Sunday, or you can fix the operating system that drives the whole experience. Hear me, growth isn't random, it's structured. You don't need more inspiration. You need architecture. And I'm so happy we're here together because I want to introduce you to the larger picture called the Sunday Collective. Inside the Sunday Collective, together, you and I, we will build your full Sunday operating system for all 52 weeks of the year. If you thought EasterOS was dope, wait until your Sunday OS hits the other 51 Sundays a year, right? We're going to build out your first step pipeline. We're going to build out your volunteer coverage model. We'll build out your anchor calendar that includes all 5 major Sundays, not just Easter. And then you're going to leave the Sunday Collective with a 90-day execution roadmap. Okay?
Right.
Here's the deal. What is the Sunday Collective? The Sunday Collective is a 12-week strategic intensive for pastors and senior leaders who want to wrap their minds around the best system to grow their church. Hear me, I unapologetically think the Church of Jesus Christ should be large, formidable, influential. You know why? Because hell is large and it's formidable and it's institutional. But guess what my word says? That the gates of hell shall not prevail. I feel a preach in my spirit. Listen, don't come on this EasterOS webinar saying, well, we're a disciple-making church, so we're intended to be small. I think that's a cop-out. I think that's a cop-out. So for 12 weeks, I walk alongside you and your leadership team and a bunch of other pastors and leaders, and we install the Sunday OS framework into your ministry. The Sunday OS framework works in every church. I'm not being arrogant. It works in every church because it's foundationally based on God's principles to build the local church. We walk through 12 weeks. Every 12 weeks, for 12 weeks, you're going to spend 60 minutes with me in an intensive strategic rollout. I'm going to give you a part of the Sunday OS every week. From that 60 minutes, we'll then get into a strategic workshop session. This is where you and I get to whiteboard it out. We get to talk through it, ask questions, give me your unique context, give me your unique problems, your unique structure, your unique situation, and I help you understand the simplicity of how the system can affect and influence your decision making. From that, you're going to get tons of other things. I mean, go to the website right now. It's on the screen. You're going to see all the other things. I'm going to give you the first step playbook, your next step playbook. We're going to talk about how to build out your volunteer team, how to create dependable Sundays, and ultimately how to install the anchor calendar system so that you're not guessing the momentum seasons of your church. You're prepped for them and you're ready to roll, okay? And then here's the beauty of Sunday OS. Not only do we meet for almost I think it's 18 total hours. It's a little over. It's 21 total hours of coaching. You're gonna get, if you subscribe before March 3rd, the next Sunday OS, the next Sunday Collective starts on March 3rd. If you join us before March 3rd, or while capacity is still available, there are still a few slots left. Now, once you sell out, because time is not infinite for me, this is gonna go. But if you join us before March 3rd or before the mastermind tier fills and sells out, you're going to get 3 1-hour one-on-one coaching calls with me. Now, you can use these with me and you. We can use it with me, you, and your team. Doesn't matter. You use it how you want it. But for 3 hours, we're going to get into your grits. Y'all know I'm from Louisiana. Sorry, I talk like this. We're going to get into your grits. We're going to talk about your unique challenges. This is an intensive, private, 60-minute one-on-one where we unpack all of you can ask me every question. We can talk about everything, right? And that is this is not a coaching cohort. This is not a Netflix for church. That doesn't work for me. I want to walk alongside you. I want to give you my heart, my brain, my systems, my playbooks, anything I can to let you add fuel to the thing God has called you to. You don't have to struggle to build this church yourself. I want to be your thinking partner. Please, I beg you, I'm begging you. I want to come into your space, into your mind, into your vision. I want to help you strategically grow it in the way that is healthy and sustainable. Now, here's the truth. When this webinar ends, that upgrade is going to end. It's going to fill up. Right now, there are probably hundreds of people listening to me say this. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a better time to make that move. You got the Easter EOS Playbook. That's going to get you through Easter. What's going to get you through the summer? What happens when Mother's Day comes? You know, Mother's Day is like a huge Sunday, right? Another huge Sunday coming. What does the fall look like? How do you move yourself from one service to two services? How do you hit that critical mass where your volunteer team is keeping pace with your church? I want to help you unpack that through the Sunday Collective. Now, let me just speak to your hesitation, because some of you are risk averse. You're thinking to yourself, this is an investment. I don't know if we can afford it. What if it doesn't work? But let me flip that for just a second. And let me ask you, what does it cost you to stay where you are right now? I mean, how many Sundays have you gone home and just fell out in an exhaustion because the day just didn't work? How many Mondays did you wake up thinking, I don't even know where to start? I don't even know what needs to be fixed. Everything needs to be fixed, Sheldon. I want to fix it all. I mean, let me ask a really hard question, Pastor. How many good leaders have you lost because they weren't clear? And that lack of clarity bred contempt. Because here's the truth, doing nothing isn't free. Doing nothing is just a delayed payment. You'll either invest in systems or you'll keep paying for it in chaos. You'll either invest in clarity or you'll keep paying in stress. Like, honestly, you'll invest in leadership or you'll keep paying in turnover. And the real question isn't, can I afford this? The real question is, can I afford another year like the last one? So here's the truth. 12 weeks from March 3rd, your church can feel and look radically different. You can be clear. It can feel less chaotic. You can be aligned instead of exhausted. You can be confident instead of pressured. But that honestly, that version doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you decided. And the pastors who wait stay where they are. The pastors who decide, they build differently. So honestly, this isn't a think about it. I'm going to click the link right now. It says it right there, the Sunday Collective. Join the Sunday Collective because this is a build moment. So download the playbook. Let's have the best Easter we've ever had because it's the most strategic Easter we've ever had. And then I want you to join the collective so we can walk through this. If you enjoyed this, what if we did this for 12 weeks in a row? What if we did this for 12 weeks in a row? What would look different? I can't wait to meet you. It's going to be good. Hey, thank you for joining me for EasterOS. I'm Sheldon. It's been an honor to be with you today. Take care.